So welcome to the next Solidworks tutorial. In this tutorial, in this video, we're going to look at the Revolve Boss Base tool and eventually be able to generalize it to how the Revolve Cut tool works. Both being the same as the Extrude Boss Base and the Extrude Cut, simply being that instead of going out in a straight line, it's actually going to revolve around a certain axis. So we're going to use this tool to to create wheels for actual car. So we're going to File, New, and select New Part. And just open up a new part document. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Sketch. As we know, all new parts start out with a new sketch. We're just going to go to Sketch and probably do this in a front plane because we'll want the wheels to turn in a certain way. So looking at this, let's start out with kind of like a basic looking wheel frame. And what we're going to do is, since we're revolving this wheel around a certain point, you're only really designing half of the wheel, I guess, or the wheel around an axis. So I guess we would want our wheel to be a certain radius length, and then say have a certain thickness, have like maybe slightly a bit of a rim to it, go down, have like kind of like a center hubcap maybe looking thing, adjusted, and then we're going to put far enough down to where it meets, and it's going to come right back to how it works. So you can see it's a very basic shape that I've kind of drawn with some lines. It's nothing super complicated. But what this tire will essentially give you, this very basic rough outline of a tire, or what actually kind of looks like just a random shape. But the neat part is when you actually begin to extrude it. So what we're going to do is, now that we have our basic sketch, you don't even need to exit the sketch. We're going to go to Features, and we're going to Revolve Boss Base. So kind of looking at that, it's kind of a weird perspective. But as you can see, you kind of have that outline traveling all the way around the part. So we could change the degrees of the part. What that would do is that would mean, looking at a better angle like this, you can change how much you want the part to move around. If I wanted to, I could simply make this 270 degrees. And now we have a Pac-Man looking part right here. Since we actually want our wheels to be functional, we're going to make the whole extrusion 360 degrees around an axis. And now the actual SolidWorks model does take a certain axis of revolution to be the default at the bottom, but I could easily change it at the top and make kind of look like a little cylinder thing. I could revolve it about some other part. It doesn't really work with those parts, but you want something that's flat and just works in a certain position. So what we're going to go is back here. Now again, we kind of have a better looking wheel, as you would say. So it's rotated 360 degrees, and all you got to do is hit check. And now you have a part that took a simple sketch and rotated around a certain angle. And if you look at that, that kind of does look like a wheel. If you really wanted to make it look fancy, you could cut a center hole in it, is where you put an axle. But this will do pretty much nicely for what we're trying to achieve. And if you really wanted to, what I could do is select that, go back to the revolve, hit the base sketch, and I could actually extrude cut, right? Or, pardon me, not extrude cut, revolve cut. And as you can see, it doesn't look like anything right now, but if I were to hit a axis of revolution, and let's just make 90 degrees, per se. What this is going to do is it's going to extrude, or cut, just much like the extrude, or the revolve boss base would. This will essentially just revolve around a point and clean out everything in that shape. Just to do it as an example, now I've revolved around that point and just cut out a certain part of the wheel. Now we don't really need to do this for our wheel since it's plenty fine the way it is. So I'll just hit Control Z and bring a wheel right back to how it was. Now that's all that's left to do is just File, Save As, and we'll just want to save this as a wheel in our folder. And that'll pretty much be all we need to do on that part.